Untitled Shuffle in today's video is reviewing a blog post from Rework. This is talking about the Trinket update and hero paths that is scheduled to be relatively soon. So we'll talk about that in a sec as well. So this series, I guess, is called From Beyond. This is the resurrection event from DD1 if you're unfamiliar with the term. But I like this first thing here. So I did skim through this. I looked at a couple things, but I haven't read all of it. So we're going to do this together. But let's see. So welcome to From Beyond, an ongoing series of blog posts that will shed a flickering light on the development process of DD2. I have been screaming for this since like before the game was released, so I'm very happy to see that they are doing it. I'm not saying that I caused it, but it is definitely welcome to see information. So Rework has been pretty secretive about everything, so I'm really glad to see that they're just talking to people. This really helps to keep hype and excitement for the game when people are being engaged. So this is a good thing to do. The focus of our next update will be Trinkets, or as we on the dev team affectionately call them, Tranks. We aim to release this update on experimental branch as early as next week. So soon TM. We'll see if they make it. I mean, you know, I'm excited either way. But Trinkets in Darkest Dungeon are equipable items that you find on the journey. Yeah, we know this. A central thesis on Darkest Dungeon is making the most of an imperfect situation. Have they been watching the streams, dude? Like, I've been memeing on this for so long. I don't know. I sound narcissistic. I apologize. But many of the game systems are built around providing trade-offs and interesting decisions for players to make. When you first loaded up DD2, we asked you to allow us to collect gameplay information. You said yes, you are helping us gather valuable data, enabling us to move away from anecdotal stories and look at hard numbers. Okay. Nice. One thing we track are the most equipped trinkets. Here's a snapshot of what general trinket usage looks like for profiles 15 to 50. From May 25th, this is like a week after the Shroud came out, to last week. And something that really surprised me looking at this is seeing, what is it, 96,000 for like Hellion, for instance, and 100,000 for Highwayman. I don't know if this includes, this is one trinket, by the way. This is the medium, like the middle tier, the tier 2 damage increase from melee and range. These are very common, so it's really easy to find these in a run at some point. So I think this is a good benchmark to use. And then it says that there's almost 100,000 equipped for each of these two characters, and I don't know if that is, like, does that include taking them on or off? You know, like if you do it once or twice in a mission, does that include, you know, 2 times, for instance? But the thing that blows me away is that there's 100,000 instances in less than a month, which means people are playing this game a lot. So for, you know, all the Epic Game Store memes and all that, like this is surprising to see a number this high. You know, this isn't like 50,000 or 20,000. This is like a substantial amount, you know. So really interesting. And then on this side, I don't know what Cultist Key is. I don't know what that's referring to. But there's a bunch of damage increases, and you can see here the top ones, the top most used trinkets, are just damage. So the first ones are damage, so melee damage, range damage, flat damage. Whatever Cultist Key is, another damage thing, more damage. These are probably the base ones, the small ones maybe. I think the large ones are called huge. Like it's down here, damage increase huge. So these are probably the basic ones. So just looking at all of this, it's really surprising because everyone's just taking damage. I guess that's not surprising, right? Everyone's picking damage trinkets, which really just emphasizes that this game has a problem with requiring damage. The whole game is a damage race from like top to bottom in most fights, except for a few of the boss fights. And even then, damage is still very good to have there. So it's kind of sad to see something like this. And one of the stories that, one of the examples I tell is that like Darkest Dungeon 1 is a game about control, which is why stuns are so important. And, you know, speed, like being able to go first, control what's happening, that's what that game's about. And this game is just about damage. This game isn't about control, so hopefully they change that going forward. I'm really surprised to see stuff like the stress resist trinket up here. I don't see this too much in my runs, and even when I do, it's not on for long. But I guess many people probably have that same situation. And then crit increase, just a bunch of random stuff, bunch of resist trinkets. These are just things you throw on when you have nothing else, pretty much. And then we have some boss trinkets, and it's surprising to see how high the boss trinkets are, considering that you have to kill the boss. You might not get the trinkets, so these are still really high. But otherwise, I'll link this below so you can look at it yourself, but I think we spent a lot of time on that. Unsurprisingly, we see the plus damage is far and away the most commonly used trinket in the game. It's highly sought after stat bonus and helps speed up combat. We don't ever expect trinket usage to be uniform, and by the nature of the unlock sequence, we know that some will never have the same usage count as the more readily available trinkets. That's true. That said, I echo. That said, we would like to see a bit more variety. I think he wants to jump up here. Come here. I was denied his affection. He came up, he meowed at me, he started rubbing against the desk, he looked at me, then he walked away. Feels bad. Given that you'll never have, okay, we always work to ensure that there are interesting decisions for players to make. Given that you will never access the full catalog of trinkets in any single run, we wanted to get back to the spikier trade-off oriented loot of DD1. So people have been asking, there you are. There you are. People have been asking for this in feedback for a while, so good job, feedback channel. But people have been saying that they want trinkets with downsides, because a lot of them just don't have downsides, so you just throw them on for, bonuses. And part of, DD is having trinkets that do bad stuff to you, but also do very good stuff. Okay. We're aiming to push the trinket design in a way that can be run altering when you get that extra or ultra rare trinket from a hard battle. Which means I guess they have to buff the best trinkets, right? Or the highest tier rarity. To that end, we're refactoring the effects of the trinket pool with the following in mind. Be creative and push the boundaries. The roguelike structure of DD2 allows us to push power and effects further than we could in DD1, where an overpowered trinket might be game breaking in a bad way. The last 8 months of monitoring early access has given us more info and more ideas about things we could do to make trinkets more fun. This is good, because trinkets right now are not fun. Give and take, we are reinvesting in the practice of pairing beneficial effects with negative costs. We have looked at player trinket usage and thought about lessons learned from DD1, focusing on what stats should be paired together to create interesting trade-offs. Well, in DD1, they just threw plus stress gain on everything, or minus speed or minus dodge. Those are the three common ones. So we'll see what they end up doing for these. Strategy altering effects. Yeah, powerful trinkets should aspire to create moments that prompt players to reconsider their party composition skill loadout. Agreed. Some of the fun in roguelikes comes from adapting on the fly and hitting the jackpot with run altering loot. Agreed. I definitely dialed into what's needed here. So rarity and category. Each rarity and category of trinkets has a place within the game. We've reduced a lot of the incremental stat bonuses as you step up the tier rungs in order to give trinkets more individual identity. This is good because low tier, what is it? Bonus damage would be the flat damage one, that Fang or whatever, would be plus 10%, then the medium would be plus 15%, and then the orange one would be plus 20% damage, and it's who cares at that point? But yeah, this is a good thing to say. Strong reasons to visit locations. Some items are found and tied thematically to their region location. Academic studies have some of the most fun things to do. So hopefully those trinkets get some love. Here's some selected trinkets that we are currently testing to help illustrate the above stated goals. These are subject to change. This trinket shows how multiple effects with different conditions that aren't limited to combat or hero stats. So this is a Cultist Trinket. This used to be 12 crit with Dark Impulse, I believe. And so turn start, get 2 blind, and then if you're blinded, you get 50% crit. This just screams Leper, because Leper with combo ignores blind, which is really good. But other characters might struggle with this, but just the fact that you have a coin flip to do over coin flip chance of crit, because most characters have positive crit bonuses to start, is interesting. Is this worth 2 trinket slots? Maybe not, but it is cool and it's something fun to think about. This will be insane for Leper, but for other characters, probably not. Extreme upsides and downsides for Cultist Trinkets, high risk and high reward. So Pristine Lord, this just got introduced in the Shroud patch. And what did this do? I think it was like gain on hit taunt. I think that's all it was, if I remember correctly. So now it's gain, it was 25%, and then it's gain on hit taunt 50%, or 2 taunts for 25%. Gain on miss, you start bleeding. Okay, so if you can resist these effects, that makes them a little more interesting, because, you know, sometimes you don't get everything happening, but who knows? You might not want to resist these, you know, if you're going, or you might want to resist this, but not the blind if you're going for the crit chance there. Example of a downside that overlaps with the mechanics of the Shroud theme. The hooks cause bleed. Oh yeah, and then the other thing too is the Shroud blinds you a lot, so missing can bleed you there too. So that's interesting. I guess that's what the point is. Sneaker standard. Each ally in combat start if flame under 40 gains stealth, 33% chance. That is kind of crazy. If flame's above 75% chance, 10% negative banner. So this is definitely like an infernal trinket. I think it's interesting too, because a standard's like, you know, big flag. So if they put that on the stagecoach or the character or whatever, for instance, this should affect a party. So I think that's pretty interesting to do. Sparkle Ball. This used to be just on hit, apply blind. I think it's just 15% chance. Like that's all it did. They may have consolidated a lot of trinkets then, because there was a trinket for each of these that was 15% chance on hit. So it looks like they just put them all in the Sparkle Ball, and they're going to change what the other ones were. That's kind of cool. Fun and weird effect. This could apply all the effects or none. Oh, I thought it was just one. It was either like nothing or one of these. I didn't know you could apply multiple. That's kind of insane. That is kind of insane. That's pretty cool. So 15% chance to hit the enemy with Daze, Blind, Weaken, Vuln, or Immobilize, or nothing. I think that caps out at 90% chance, and then like 10% chance of nothing, technically. I guess, if you want to go that way. So, Dismiss Locket. Hero trinkets focus on specific archetypes and usually carry a downside that represents the burden that the trinket places on the hero. So for Highwayman's Locket, gain on range hit, chance of stress. And that's pretty thematic because in his origin story, you know, he shoots someone that he's not supposed to shoot. So that definitely plays into it, probably reminds him of that, so that's kind of cool. And then melee skills, 15% crit, that's nuts. Open vein skills, more bleed damage dealt. This is insane. Like, this is a... what is it? This is definitely an open vein focused trinket, but Wicked Slice can make use of it as well. And I think other things like Double Cross, I think Double Cross is considered melee, even though he shoots them. So there's interesting stuff here. Oh, is this the end? Okay. July update has a bonus too. Along with all these ranks, we're also adding a third hero path for every hero. Get excited to theorycraft and test out new builds as we aim to deploy this update next week on the experimental branch for the Epic Games Store. Meanwhile, the Cultist Herald I can't even say this word. Piping announces new threats from the limitless emptiness of the void. The Writhing Altar calls forth a twisted champion. The world slips ever closer to oblivion. Are we getting the cultist enemies too? They said the cultist update was soon too. I like that they included no icon. That's good. Alright, is this impact font, dude? Using impact at Red Hook? Okay, really cool stuff. I'm excited to see this. I am excited to see these trinkets, so we'll see how cool and fun they are. Also, there are a lot of trinkets in the game. If you look at the backsplash here, this art, so I got a lot of work to do. But otherwise, let me know what you're thinking and hoping for in the update. This used to only be one, I think. It was just this one. Now there's like 3 levels of this. This Runaway's blanket that no one ever saw. A lot of interesting stuff. So let me know what you're thinking down below. What you hope to see. What do you think about the third hero pass? I have no idea what those could be right now. And that's not even like little tester stuff. That's just, I really don't know. Because I feel like the 2 paths that most of the characters have right now cover pretty much everything that they can do. So I'm really excited to see what they come up with. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.